Okay, why don't you take your smartphone out? Take it out. And go to the clock section. Go to timer and put in 25 minutes. You got a timer? Go ahead, put your timer on your clock, 25 minutes, and set that. And when I say go, hit the start button, and then it'll all go off in 25 minutes, and that's my cue. Okay? So leave your timer on. Ready? If you're there, 25 minutes. 1, 2, 3, go. All right. Well, welcome. Last week I ministered on God is not in control. There's a lot of people saying God's in control, it's okay. And I ministered about God is not in control of everything. And I was listening to it and going over it, and I was talking to quite a few people made comments of it. And so far they've all been good comments. But two people brought out how intense I am. And I was agreeing. I was talking to Freddie Bill about it. I said, I always start out thinking I'm going to be calm, but I always get kind of intense. And my whole life I've been kind of an intense guy. It's one of the things I keep working on. Just, relax, John. It's okay. It's going to be all right. But then when I get going in life, I just get wound up. And I thought I'd grow out of it, but I haven't yet. And I'm not really trying to do it. It just comes natural. I don't know what to do about that, other than just be me. But as I was thinking about it, I thought, and Richard asked me, on the computer, what do you want to title your sermon? And I was going to say, God is not in control. I said, man, that sounds so negative. It sounds so horrible. Like we don't have a God that's in control. He's crazy. That's not at all what I'm saying. And I'm really willing to encourage you that this message would mean a lot more if you listen to the last message. You can go to YouTube or go to Facebook and get it and listen to it. But I don't want to repeat the whole thing. But I titled last week's message, God is in control of my life. God is not controlling everything that's going on the earth. Steve Jobs said that he left the Christian faith and went to Buddhism because he could not believe in a God that allowed earthquakes and tragedies and tornadoes and babies dying and all that. He wouldn't believe in a God that would do all those things. And I'd have to say, I'm with you. The only thing is, our God is not the one that is doing all those things. You would say, well, who is that? Well, God is God. He is the Almighty. He made everything. He created everything. And when He created it, He created all the boundaries of how far the waters can go. He created all the rivers. He created, the Bible talks about, He laid down the foundations of the earth, which means He laid down the rules. And a lot of those are all kinds of rules or laws that God created. All the laws of physics God created. All the laws of we're learning now of quantum physics and biology and chemistry, God created. All the laws that govern our weather, God created. So in one way, yes, He created it all. But then once He created it all, He created man, and He said, man, well, I'm going to use the word mankind. He gave to mankind, Adam representing all of us at that time, He says, now you multiply, and you go out and subdue all this that I've created. Well, the word subdue means to bring it back into order. He said, here's the steering wheel, here's the keys to how everything works, and you're in charge, mankind. And so God, in His incredible ability and power, and He is the Almighty, but in His almightiness, He said, this is my choice. I'm going to create this whole thing. I got some boundaries here. I'm not going to fly a piece. Isn't it awesome that the earth spins like it does and we don't fly off? Isn't it awesome that that we're just exactly the right distance from the sun so we don't totally smoke and don't totally freeze? He did all that, but then He said, and I believe It's probably easier to believe that God is just up there with puppet strings running everything than it is to believe that He actually left this in our charge. That is like insanity. Why would you do that, God? Don't you know these people? I know these people. They're not worthy of it. They can't even run a postal service. But I want to go, just continue on and say, but God is in control of my life. God is in control of my life because why? Because when He said, John and everybody else, mankind, here it is. I said before you life and death. You're in charge. But listen, if you listen to me, I will coach you. I'm not abandoning you. I'm not leaving you to yourself. I'll instruct you. I'll walk with you. I'll show you how things work. You're going to have to learn. You're going to have to grow. And Adam, I think, was an incredible learner because I think, to name all the animals and go, we had some really, I think our brains were cranking early back then. I think it's just been deadened down a little bit since then. But he said, I'll walk with you. And as time went on, he kept telling mankind, he kept saying, mankind, choose life. You can choose life or you can choose death. But I'm telling you, choose life. It's the right answer. And here's how you do it. And if and it just made sense. It's not like he has to have everybody bow down to him to make him feel like God. He is God. He doesn't need you and I to make himself feel good. But he is saying, if you'll listen to me, because I know and I understand. Why? Because I am God and I made it all. And I'm more than willing to reveal to you. He said, if you'll seek me, I'll show you. There are some things, he said in Deuteronomy, he says, some things are hidden that are just mine. I'm going to control the times of things. I'm going to try, certain things that are still mine. That's why we don't know when he's coming back, because that's in his department. He's not giving that to us. We can't corporately come together and get him here. But he said, everything else is to be revealed to you. It's hidden, not to be kept from you, but hidden to be revealed to you. If you just seek me. But he said, if you don't seek me, you're not going to find out. Because I'm going to give you a choice of what you want to do. Whether you want to, and I think about it, wow, how many people are just ticked off and upset because they think he's actually up there manipulating everything. Because it sometimes appears that way. But like I said, if that's the case, then God's a liar. If that's the case, God's a thief. If God took took somebody out of your life early, he's a thief, he's a liar, he's a destroyer. And then if he blesses this person but won't bless you, you ever felt that? Everybody wins but me, And then he's a respecter of persons. He's blessing somebody, If you can't go to God and get whatever anybody else wanted to, and believe in him for, then he's a respecter of persons, and I won't serve a God like that. The good news is I don't serve a God like that. Hallelujah. That's not him. Just because everybody told us about what God was like and we believed him doesn't mean that's the way he is. There's a lot of things people say about me that is not true. Right? And I hear all kinds of stuff about you guys. Trust me, I don't believe it. I'm going to believe the best about you. Jesus told stories. I'm going to tell stories today. Jesus told the story about two sons that the father came to him and said, hey, will you get, went to the first son, will you go work in the vineyard today? Where'd you go work? And he said, yeah, sure, Dad. He went to the second son and said, son, would you work in the field today? And he said, no, They said, then went on, as the day went on, the first son that said yes didn't go. And the second son that said no did go. And at the end of the parable, he says, who did the will of God? Who did the will of their father? And they all said, oh, the second son did. Now, really, in life, the best way to go is to say you're going to do it and then do it, right? But sometimes it doesn't work out that way. But who did really do the will of the Father? Now, there is a will of our Father. Our Father has a will. He has dreams. He has purposes. He has plans for your life. The Bible very clearly says He's got a plan for your life. It's your choice whether or not you want to do it. And you can say yes to it and do it, or you can say no to it and do it, or you can say yes to it and not do it. You got all those options. But the only one that really does is the one that actually goes to the I belong to Christ. Say that with me. I belong to Christ. You know, there are some people who don't want to belong to Christ or to God. They want to do it on their own. What was it, Frank Sinatra that used to sing the song, I Did It My Way? I did it my way for a while. Really was pretty bad. Didn't make me happy. Made me frustrated. And so really it is a legitimate choice. Maybe you don't want God to instruct you. Maybe you don't want God to be involved in your life. Maybe you do want to be your own individual and not have Him bother you, not have Him coach. There are some people that no matter how bad their game is, they don't want to coach. Baffles me to all get out that they can be really, and you just, I've watched coaches try to coach. I've watched people just come on and say, hey, you might want to consider this. No, that doesn't work for me. Well, what you're doing sure isn't working. But there's no need of logic in this life, is there? Just good conduct. There are some people who legitimately, I think, would have to say, even if they understood what I was saying today, they'd have to say, I don't want to belong to God. I want to do it. I want to stay on my own. And that is the freedom and the choice that God gave you. You're created in His image where you actually have that ability to say no to God. And He will back you. You know, a lot of times when you say no to God, your parents are going to be after you. They're going to put the pressure to you. Your friends are going to, your wife, your husband, everybody around you, all the other Christians will try to force you. And you can't do that. You got to obey God. You need to do what's right. You're going to go down into the abyss if you don't do it. And the interesting thing, when all of us are trying to help each other, you ever try to help somebody? Come on. Man, I remember once this couple was coming to our church and she took a butcher knife after her husband in a real way, wasn't thinking at all. And they came to me for help and all that, and they were starting to grow and starting to get better, and then all of a sudden she just wanted to go back and do some other things. And I literally got down on my knees. I was a young pastor. I got down on my knees and said, I'm begging you to stay with God and begging you to stay with the things that are right. And she said no. And man, it just tore me up, man. As a young pastor, it just tore me up. I was talking to another pastor, and he just goes, that seems like you're a little too emotionally involved in this. And I'm going, I am an intense guy. And I left there saying, I was growling. I said, what in the world? If I'm not going to get emotionally involved in people's lives, then I need to get out of the ministry. I need to go back to sheep. Something, build houses again. I said, man, what am I here for if I don't care about you, then what am I here for? If you can plug in a CD, you can go to the internet, but I'm a real live person, and I care about you. And I thought, man, that old doofus pastor, I don't want to be like him. But as the years went by, I had to say, I wasn't very teachable back then. I was too emotionally involved. I cannot live your life. I cannot save you. I cannot, with all my energies, and if I am, I'm enabling you and doing you harm. Parents, listen real closely to what I'm saying. You're not a good parent when you are too involved in your child's life. You've got to find a boundary. And God will coach us, but you know what? When you're sitting there saying, I want to go wrong, I want to go down the tube, I want to go down there, I don't care, and everybody's in there yelling at you and trying to get you whatever thing you're doing, God is standing there like this and saying, He's not going, oh my gosh, you're going down the wrong road, oh my gosh, you're going to die, oh my gosh, nobody. No, He's just saying, and actually, if you could hear Him, He'd tell all the rest of us that are trying to grab these people and keep them from going down, and He would just say, hey! It's their choice. I back their choice. That really taxes us. That really challenges us. That God literally will push everybody else away from you and say, hey! It's their choice, and I'm backing them up. And nobody's going to take their power of choice away from them. Especially not the rest of mankind. Nobody Nobody can take your choice away. You can give it away, but nobody can take your life. Nobody can take what God has given to you. It's your choice. Remember that. You are not a victim ever. It doesn't matter what your parents did. It doesn't matter what your wife did. It doesn't matter what your kids did. It doesn't matter what the government does. It doesn't matter what anybody does to you. You are not a victim. God will back you clear to the end. I belong to Christ. The Bible actually says that we can be servants of God. This is what the definition, Paul said, I'm a bondservant of Christ. Listen to the definition of servant. One bound to serve. I'm bound to serve God. That's my choice. It's not automatic. He doesn't force us into slavery. It's a choice. I choose to serve the Lord. One who's, and this is continuing the definition on servant, one whose will and capacities are wholly at the service of another. All that God gave me, my will, all my capacities, all my abilities, I make a choice now to say, I surrender them to you, God. Whatever you say, you whisper something, I'll do it. I hear you mumble something, I'll get it done for you. I want to please you. I tell this illustration, but we were probably about 20 years ago, my brother and I were up in Wildwood Forest Acres, and my dad was up there. And so, Dad's up in his 80s and we're 40s. And there's a porcupine, thank you, that ran by, and the porcupine had been eating the trees quite a bit, right, and Dad just said, them stinking porcupines been killing my trees. Kill that porcupine. And I'm telling you, we were not really dressed for it. We didn't have any guns. We didn't have anything. But that just blew my mind. My brother and I, 40 years some old, we just, boom! I mean, we were on that porcupine like that, and it was dead. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and was like, wow, what came over us? I'll tell you, that desire to please your dad is so strong and so powerful if you let it. And man, I'll tell you what, we found a weapon, and we had that sucker dead, man. And that's the way I want to live my life with God. I want his very whisper to be my deepest desire to fulfill. And that means then I belong to him. There are scriptures here that Paul was going down in the shipwreck, and he said this. He said, an angel of God to whom I belong and whom I serve. Now, he doesn't belong to the angel. He belongs to the God. He says, an angel of the God to whom I belong and whom I serve came and told me we're going to be okay. I love that statement. Romans 8 says, however, you are not in the flesh, but in the Spirit, if indeed the Spirit of Christ dwells in you. But if anyone does not have the Spirit of Christ, he does not belong to God. You can belong to God, but that Spirit of Christ is in me. Go on in 1 Corinthians 3, it talks about, hey, Paul, they were fighting about who's with Paul and who's with Apollos. He said, listen, all these people and all these things all belong to you. Do you realize everything belongs to you because God the Father gave it to you? If you choose to be in him, then and it just goes on to say, all things belong to you, and you belong to Christ, and Christ belongs to God. And it's just like this big circle. I belong to Christ, Christ belongs to God, and God said, therefore, everything belongs to you guys. I don't walk on this earth. You should not walk on this earth thinking nothing. Listen, you own everything whether you possess any of it or not. You and I are going to run everything in this earth, and ultimately, every enemy that we've got some enemies right now. By the way, that's why some evil things happen. We are in a battle. Why is this happening? Because it's a battle. It's like stepping into the ring at the knuckle, and saying, I want to do the ultimate fight thing like my son does and my sons do, and I tell my friends, yeah, my son's living fun, the knuckle during the rally, and what is wrong with them? Are they idiots? Well, probably. They did come from me. And then I said, I'm thinking about it. And they just, man, I had these men of God look at me, and I said, I thought about going with the old timers, Are you insane? And every time I said that, well, probably, but don't you feel like a good fight once in a while? You're not looking at me like I'm going somewhere where, I'm sorry, I have these impulses. Once in a while I want to just see where I'm just... But if I stepped into that ring and the guy hit me and I go, wow, what'd you do that for? I mean, we'd probably get all kinds of cheers and beer cans thrown at us. You need to get out of the ring. And it's almost like, folks, what did you think was going to kind of happened when you got born into this earth with a battle going on? Did you think there would never be anybody get mad at you, never dislike you, never say something evil of you? You wouldn't have any problems, the wind wouldn't blow on you? I mean, here over the 2 foot of snow in the eastern part of the United States, and a kid gets out of his car to help. The policeman steps on a wire and he's gone, he's dead. We live in a fallen world. We live in a battleground, and there are casualties. Hallelujah. I mean, you learn to shoot your gun the best. You put on your armor. And you hope they're a lousy shot. But every once in a while, they get lucky. And that's just life. You don't have to say, well, God did it, I did it, who did it, you did it, that did it. Man, when God gave control of mankind, it wasn't just like you can control the weather and you can do all this. It's all of mankind together. And everything that mankind is doing is affecting other. Everything that every human being believes in their heart is affecting everything in this universe. Now, if you can figure it all out, then great for you. But it is so interwoven together. But I'm telling you, everything you believe does have an impact. And quantum science and quantum physics people right now are telling us that. They're saying everything you believe is affecting everything, including this glass table. But what I'm believing is affecting what you're believing. And every once in a while, one of us will get really powerful one thing, and we'll see the demonstration of it. But most of the time, we don't see the effects of everything we're believing. But I'm telling you, that's what you say. Why is everything happening the way it is? Because of mankind. And we're not going to fix it all. He said it's going to take some time to put the enemies, and the last enemy is going to be death that we're going to put under. So, but let me tell you, I was talking to Freddie Bill, and we got talking about things, and we talked to Mike that runs a pony, and he said he was going to go pheasant hunting, and he just kind of streamed into this, and he says, I said, so you're going to go? He said, we're going out to Prussia, and I said, wow, we used to have pheasants like crazy when I was a kid, but they all of a sudden just kind of, and we were trying to figure out, I don't know why. But anyway, Mike said, yeah, where we're going, it's just, he said 20 of us will go out there and fill our quota, our limit in about 2 hours. He said, that's a disappointing thing. I said, why? Because then we're done. And I was talking to Gary Kamak, and Gary Kamak's a friend of mine, and he just went to Africa for 14 days to do a safari, shot 15 big critters and brought them home. And he's showing me all these pictures of what he shot. We were at a meeting the other day, and he's got his iPad out, and he said, wow, look at this, look at this. And I'm going, wow, but I looked at him, and he had a great big old zebra, and he and his wife behind him with a gun, and I go, this looks so exciting except for that picture. I love to hunt. You know what I don't like? I don't like to kill. Because now you got a dead critter in front of you, and you're going to have to do things to it, and it's like, I just don't want to do that stuff anymore. But I love to hunt. And that's what he said. He was just saying, man, I love to hunt does because you can hunt all day and not hard to get any of them. But you can sure hunt. And I got to talk about Freddie Bill about life, and I said, something, so often we just want something to take place. We can't wait for Christmas. We can't wait for this. We can't wait for that. And then when it comes, it's over. One of the worst things about having a good day, I'm sitting out in the sunshine, I'm golfing, I'm saying these are the greatest days of the fall, and I'm going to suck it all in as I can. And the worst part about it is I think, oh, tomorrow will rain. Storms are coming. We're going to have to show us snow. And I thought, how can you... And the worst part about finishing something is it's over. But the fun part is the hunt. And I said, man, I'm not. And I just started ministering to myself. I was getting so cranky. So I got to think about it. My brother and I would go hunting, and we loved to fox hunt. And when I was 20 years old, I bought a sportster. And I took that sportster, and then I bought a 357 Magnum. Ooh, that was a fun pistol. And I went out one day from doing construction in Massachusetts. I drove out to the farm, and I said, brother, let's go hunting. He goes, okay. And normally we'd grab these motorcycles. We had, 80s, 90s, 100s, 150s. I don't know. At that time, Marty, what were you driving? Did you have that 360, or did you have a
305?
You had a 305. And anyway, usually we had a lot of extra bikes that we worked on, and we got out there, and none of them would run except his. And I've ridden behind him and shot before, but he doesn't like the ringing in his ears. And so I said, oh, the rats, nothing was running. And I just want to go hunting. Got my gun. And I just said, you know, brother, I think I'll just take my Harley. I said, it's just like a dirt bike. He goes, really? I said, yeah, let's do it. So we headed off, and we got out there, you know, and I'm taking it easy on the side, and he's out there. And all of a sudden, this fox jumps up, and there's this great big old plowed field, you know, and the neighbors, and it fox jumps up, and there's something about a red devil running in front of you that just makes your blood start boiling. Now, if you've never experienced that, it's okay, but I know there's some people in here that know what I'm talking about. You got crazy when those things are, you know, and I looked at that thing, and my brother took that one after it. Was it time already? Oh my cow! And so I got to speed this up this way, and that's what I did. I speeded it up. I saw that thing, and I thought, that's a rough field, and I started going over it, and I go, man, my brother was getting down on that thing, and I thought, I don't like to be left behind. And I tell you what I found out, well, the faster you go, the smoother the road is. You know, you don't go like that so much. And I was going, wow, and all of a sudden I saw this huge rock right in front of me. Bam! Well, but just before I hit that rock, I looked down. I was doing 80 miles an hour. Yeah, I was. It makes me scared to think about today. 80 miles an hour on a Harley in a plowed field, man. Is that insanity or what? Hit that rock and said, oh, dear God, I'm done. Bam! Came down, boom, still running, all right. Man, that fox went to another place. We went through this fence, that fence, and man, and all of a sudden he went through a fence, and I thought, oh, it's just right on his tail. And I locked that old Harley up, and I slid to a stop. I kicked the kickstand down on one movement. I reached, pulled down, pulled my 357 out, rested on that Harley, and bam, right to the left of that fox. Boy, he just darted and went right. Bam, you know, and I got right on the right side of him. Boom, and he went left. And bam, I love the hunt. I was right underneath his belly, was kicking up the dirt, and that fox was just as nervous as all. He jumped up and took off, and I said, I gotta get to the next field, and so my Harley was a kickstart, so I'm putting my gun in at the same time I'm starting that thing. Boom! The only problem was I didn't have my hand on the handlebar, you know, so. I had everything going, man. I had everything going. James 1:5 says, if any man lacks wisdom, I was not anticipating to get a laugh on that. If anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all mankind. It doesn't say all Christians, it says, if any mankind, man, woman, child, is lacking wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all men generously, without reproach. That means he won't chew you out. He won't scold you for not being there sooner. He won't say it's about time. He just says, yeah, you come and ask, I'll give to you generously. To all mankind. If anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all men generously, without reproach. But let him ask in faith, without any doubt. For the one who doubts is like the surf of the sea, being tossed to and fro by the wind. Let not that man expect that he'll receive anything from God. Do you know we receive a lot of things from God? There should. Others mercy and grace, and others. But he's just saying, here's one of the rules that I set up. Here's one of the keys. When I built this whole universe, this is how I built it, and I'm coaching you now. If you want to get wisdom from me, then you're going to have to trust me, you're going to have to believe in me, and you're going to have to do it without any doubting. Because then if you doubt, don't expect to get anything. You know, a little fox is not very big. We've skinned them out, my brother and I, and boy, they got a lot of fur, but when you get right down to it, you know. So you say, man, you missed him 3 times? Yeah, but he's not very big. And you can say, how in the world can I believe God without any doubting? Well, it's not easy, but it is doable. And I watched my brother take a 22-250 the very first time we bought it, and we went out one Sunday afternoon. He said, let's go. And he said, and we get out of the vehicle, out of the pickup, and we're starting to walk this grassy field. And I said, did you sight that thing in? He says, no, we didn't. I said, well, it's a little late now. If you start shooting now, they're all going to go. And he says, well, let's just take it. Let's just go for it. And I remember we walked about 100 yards in a red little devil. You're like fox, I'm sorry. They're pretty blessed around me because I missed. But anyway, he got up and it was about 100 yards out, and my brother just pulled up and first shot, bam, rolled that sucker. I'm telling you, it is not easy, but it is doable. I've watched Cliff Cord pull out his gun. Man, we were out by faith working a job, and he pulled out his gun on a snowy day, and that fox was running. I go, man, I can hardly see that stinking thing. He pulls up, and that thing's running. He goes, boom. And I said, I can't believe it. And I got out of the pickup, and I walked it. My steps are right on 3 feet. I walked it 500 yards on the dead run. I'm telling you, it's not very big, but it's doable. And living by faith without any doubt is doable, but it's not easy. And you don't just get out there and try to shoot close. You've got to figure it out. You've got to get trained. You got to get control of your emotions. You've got to do all those things. What is wisdom? Wisdom is not accumulating a whole bunch of knowledge. A lot of people have a whole lot of knowledge, but that's not wisdom. Now, you do need a lot of knowledge. You need to accumulate. You need to read things, study things. You need to get a lot of knowledge. But that's not wisdom. And you need both. Where's wisdom? Wisdom, the Bible word for wisdom really coming out of the Old Testament is the word shaman. It means a heart to hear. And the word hear means more than listen. It means to actually do it. Going back to the 2 sons, one heard and said and didn't. One heard, said no and did. What hearing means is, when you say, I hear you, it means I take it in, plus I'm going to act on it. I'm going to do it. If you don't do it, you didn't hear it. Wisdom is hearing from God and doing it. I want to tell you one more story. One of my hunting stories. I owned a lumber yard. We got into bear. We could buy archery equipment at wholesale. So all my guys were all bow hunters, and we ordered a bunch of bows in for them. They got me one. Boss, try this. So I'm in the back of the lumber yard shooting, in that long hallway where all the lumber. It was fun, man. Put balloons back there. Bam, choo, boom. Those arrows, they're flying. We had 70 pounds of pressure on that thing. Those arrows are flying like crazy. And I'm back there and I'm hitting some balloons. I'm thinking, yeah, I can maybe go hunting. I've shot pistols, I've shot rifles, I've shot bows and arrows. But anyway, I was busy with the lumber yard. We just started the church. And finally one day my hired man says, you got that ticket. Why don't you go hunting today? I said, I'm busy. He said, you're always busy. You're never not going to be busy. Get out of there. He said, and he was real avid. It didn't matter how busy we were. He left the first day of hunting season. That was our agreement when I hired him. Boy, did I pay for that. But anyway, he said, you get out of here. And he just started schooling me. I said, okay. So I loaded up the van, and I put my bow in there, and I got ready to go. And the light snow is coming down. It's a perfect day. He said, this is a perfect day. He was so excited. And I said, and then I came back in, and he said, what are you doing? I said, I was going to get my chainsaw. He said, what are you getting now? I said, I'm going to get some wood afterward. He said, you ain't going to have time. I don't get no wood. Go hunting. Okay. I didn't know how anymore. So I'm driving out to the farm, and I'm driving out there, and I'm just starting to fellowship with God. And I heard the voice of God say, I did. People say, you don't. I did. I heard God say, hey, you want a deer today? And I'm just driving my own van and go, what? I wasn't even thinking about getting one. I wasn't hardly thinking about shooting one. I just thought I'd get up there and get some wood. I'd go out and say I did it, tell my guy I did it, tell Paul I went hunting. And I'm just thinking, man, is this really God? And I thought, I'll just go with it. And so I said, yeah. Yeah, let's get one. And the Lord said, I'll give you one today. I said, cool. And then I heard him say, do you want a buck or a doe? And I was just about to say, oh, it don't matter to me. And I thought, he's asking me, all right. Sometimes he's asking you, and you need to come up with a decision. You're in charge. I said, wow, if I got a buck, that would really be impressive to the guys. First day I've ever hunted with a bow. And I got a buck, that'd be cool. All I could think about was just having fun going back to Columbia. And so I said, yeah, let's get a buck. He said, okay, I'm going to give you one. And all you got to do is pay attention to what I tell you. I said, okay, it's a done deal. So I get to the farm, I go to my brother, he's out feeding cows with my dad. I said, I'm going to go hunt. He said, the big buck down on the creek. He said, I'll come join you in a little bit. I got to feed these cows, and I'll come and I'll go with you. I said, okay. And I'm driving up the hill, and the Lord says, now go to the right, go over here, and this is the dry land. And he said, down, park right here, and the wind was coming just the right direction. The wind, snow was coming down. It was so beautiful. And he said, now get out of the fence and cross the fence and cross right here and go over to the other fence line and then go up. I said, okay. So I got that. I did all that. And he said, well, I'm walking up the fence line, and I'm walking up, and there's a big cutoff right here and a creek down below. And he just said, now put it, I heard this. He said, put an arrow in your bow right now. Ooh, man, I'm getting excited. Not to hit a deer. I'm just excited to see if I'm hearing God or not. You know? What if there's no deer over there? I wonder if somebody's watching me. So I'm sneaking up the fence line, and I got this thing, and I thought, man, this is getting funky. This is getting crazy. But wow, this is kind of fun. I love to hunt. And it wasn't just a hunt for a deer, it was a hunt for life and walking with God. And I got my bow, and then I'm coming to the crest of the hill, and I'm going to look over down the creek. The creek is right down there below, about 75 yards down. And I heard the voice of the Lord said, now when you get to the edge, pull the arrow back, lean over, look down, and let the arrow fly because you don't know what you're doing. And I wanted to say, hey, I shot some balloons. I've hit a few things in my life. He said, you do not know what you're doing. I'm giving you this deer. So just do what I tell you to do. And I'm telling you, isn't that the story of life sometimes when God's going to give you something? And you say, well, yeah, but I only use my ability. I'm not that stupid. I can get a girl without you, God. Yeah, right. Anyway, so wisdom, say wisdom, is hearing God on a certain situation, what he wants you to do, and doing it. So I did. I pulled my 70-pound bow back, man, I'm home like that. I leaned over the edge and I looked down, and I thought down in the plum thickets right down there, 75 feet, I see skin. I see deer. And I saw antlers. And I just go, do what he said. Boom! I mean, just like that, man. As soon as I saw it, I let it go. Boom! Boy, arrows are cool. And then I heard it go right through the bushes, and boom! And 30 deer jump up out of there. I mean, they don't know where they have no clue anybody's around. And man, and this one deer was a big muley with a 4-point. He wasn't a trophy, but he was a nice sized deer. And he jumps up, and I could tell. And then I thought, it looks like I hit him. Oh God, I think I hit him. He was laying down. I was on top of him. And then I saw, and I thought, I think I saw the arrow. It looks like it's bent. And he jumped up and he took off running, and I go, oh my gosh. I'll be hunting all day. Trying to track that sucker down. And the Lord said, look down at your watch. I looked down at my watch. And I sat there. He ran out in this 40-acre alfalfa field. And I saw him standing in it. And I saw him going like this. And I go, oh. And I saw him go, boom. And I'm sitting there going, you gave me a deer. Man, I'm shaking. I get in my van. I go down there, and I try to pull him up in the van, and he's 250 pounds. I'm so excited. I can't move the dumb thing, I'm just so pumped. And I drive back, get my brother, and he says, I drove up there, shot him, came back. My brother said, aren't you going to go? I said, I got him. He says, what? He's one that hits them, I always miss him. We loaded up the truck, we went out there, took both of us on him up, we gutted him out. I said, man, let's throw him into my van. I got a cargo van. And I said, and so he said, we got him in there, and I tilted his head up, and then I slammed the back door right in the antlers. And I said, I gotta head back to the lumberyard. And I drove back, and I drove back to the lumberyard, and I walk in, and my hired man, Paul, he says, now what is it? And I just stood there. He said, no. And then he looked down at my feet, and there's blood on my feet. He goes, no. I didn't say a word. He walks out. He opens the back door. Boom! This rack falls out. He called me every name. I went home the next year, and I guarantee you, God gave me that deer. Your faith is not for things. It's not for healing. It's not for prosperity. You don't need faith for any of those things. When the Bible says you've got to believe, it says you've got to believe one thing, and that's it. One thing that God is a good God. Without any doubting. And if you've got the slightest doubt that He doesn't absolutely love you and adore you and wants only the best for you, if you think that He's going to give you some sickness, if you think He's going to put some tribulation on you to teach you something, there's so much teaching out there. Oh, tribulation will teach you. Listen, go through tribulation, it'll teach you nothing. It'll pound you in the ground. Go through cancer, go through heart attack, go through anything. It will not do anything but pound you in the ground. But if you will get wisdom in your tribulation, the wisdom will build character, knowledge, understanding, and victory. It is not tribulation that teaches you a thing. It is the wisdom of God. And He can teach you without. When I got that deer, I had no tribulation. I didn't have a problem in life. I mean, I had a lot of problems in life, but that was just, hey, John, you want a gift? Yeah. And the truth is, it irritated some of my hired men. Some of them are still mad about it. I don't believe God does that. Well, He didn't for you, because you said no. I'll get him on my own. I'm a good shot. I'm just smart enough to know I'm a lousy shot, and I need help. And the older I get, the more I want to be a lousy shot. The older I get, the more I want to be weak, because when I'm weak, then I'm strong, because then I'll pull on His grace. I belong to God. Therefore, everything about my life, He's controlling. He's controlling the people I meet. He's controlling the times of seasons. He's protecting me. He's doing everything. Why? Because I belong to Him. And I say it. I say, God, Thy will be done. By the way, when you pray the Lord's Prayer, Father, Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, does it make any sense that you have to pray to talk God into His own plan? Does that make any sense? Is that what we're doing? Are we praying, oh God, please do what you want to do? Well, I don't think I want to do that. Talk me into it. Some people are trying to talk God into His own will. It's His will that you be healed. It's His will that you prosper. It's His will that you be full of joy. It's His will that you love life. It's His will that you just live abundantly. And we're saying, oh God, please. And then when it doesn't happen, we go, why? I did everything You asked. No, it's all twisted. We don't pray, Father, Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven to get Him to do it. We pray it to get ourselves lined up with it. We're the ones that got to get persuaded differently. You don't talk Him into His own plan. He's not schizophrenic. Hey, I've missed a lot of deer and fox since that time. I'm not saying we win every battle, but if any man lacks wisdom, let him ask of God. There's a lot of times I didn't ask. Ben, would you bring your family up here? Glory to God. Say this, I love the hunt. Man, Mom and Dad, Booch, come on up. Teresa, your mom and dad, we want them all up here. Give this fine couple a big hand, will you? Glad you made it. Thanks. Gee, you got out of uniform though. I'm kind of disappointed. No, we like weird. Ben was he's a policeman, he just got off work. And here's some mom and dad, Teresa's mom and dad. Iowa. Yeah. Blessing. Man, good to have you here. And this is my dear friends. And I'll tell you soccer stories later, but anyway, soccer coaches. Ben's an awesome soccer player and coach and been a friend of my family and my kids. And Teresa, and this is their little one, Royal Thatcher, right? Awesome. This is one of the cutest. I mean, I love all kids. And I got some really great kids and grandkids. But this guy, he really does take the cake. He is awesome, isn't he? And they just want to dedicate their child today, so that's what we're going to do. Here's what I want to just say in closing. I don't know what all you're going through, but I know you're going through stuff because you're not in this game without going through stuff. And some of this stuff gets heavy on us to the point where you don't know if you even want to go on. But you know, as I sat there the other day talking to Freddie, the more I talk about loving the hunt, the more I realize, you know, one of the problems I have is if I forget how fun the hunt is. If I keep wanting just to have the trophies, you know, or if I'm, you know, I don't know, but there's something about, you know, if I just know that it's going to be a good hunt, I can get up in the morning and go after it. And folks, you belong to God. He has a place for you, a place, not just a mansion in heaven. He has a place where you fit, and you're going to fit there for eternity. Life is going to continue on after you and I leave these bodies. It's going on forever. Don't think everything has to happen down here. Get as much of this life as you can, but so the best years of our life are after we leave these bodies. But it's really important what we do while we're in this flesh. And as we, you know, what dedication to me is just the fact that you guys have set your heart intent to say, man, we want to bless our child. Thanks for adoring me. Yeah, but he's smiling towards me, man. I don't know how you get anything done. My gosh, you could just stay and just let him adore you all these. And you know, that's how the Father is. You know, the beautiful thing is our Father has rested. He doesn't have to go do a job, so he just gets to sit there and watch us adore him. Man, that's your main purpose in life, just to adore your Heavenly Father. And Royal, he does a great job.